This week of Wild Talk is action-packed. Remember that viral video from a few years ago? That little girl was crying when they didn't get a deer? I've got her and her dad to chat. We introduced the Wild Woman's Handbook and Cathy Wolf. Then I dive deep into the world of hunting dogs with Clint and Caitlin from Canadian Gundogs. Timber Stoves pops by, Safari Club International, and the Untamed Times with Karis Jorgensen. There's so much going on this week on Wild Talk. This episode of Wild Talk is brought to you by Aventura Self-Heating Beverages. Enjoy your adventure with the comfort of a hot drink anywhere, anytime. Hornady, accurate, deadly, dependable. Timber Stoves, the original wood pellet patio heater. And Wild TV Plus. Stream the best outdoor adventures on all your favorite devices. I'm your host, Steve Hamilton, and you are watching Wild Talk. All right, everybody, welcome back to Wild Talk. We all saw the video a few years ago.
We tried to get a deer, but we can't.
No, he ran away, didn't he?
Yep, but a big deer just ran away and we can't get any shot at him.
That's okay, bud. We'll get him next time.
Yeah.
Tim and Wren Hepworth, thanks for joining me today, guys.
Oh, we're happy to be here.
Yeah.
Wren, how old were you when that video happened?
3, 4,
3 or 4. How old are you now?
9.
9, so it was a little longer ago than a couple of years. Wow, it's been around a while. So, tell me the story about what happened. What made you so upset that day?
So we had this we have this valley near where we hunt, and in the valley was a really, really big buck, mule deer.
Yeah.
And we were driving by the valley like we do every day just to go and see if there's anything in there. And we go over and we go over just to go and see in glass for a few minutes. And we see this huge buck down in the valley. And of course he's way too far down there to get him with even a rifle.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if I remember correctly, Dad didn't even have a tag for him.
Oh, no.
Oh, I did.
You did?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. Anyways, he had a tag, and I really, really wanted him to shoot it. And I kept leaning over his shoulder, pushing on his shoulder. Shoot it, shoot it, shoot it. And he did not shoot it. And I got really, really sad because I watched it run down the valley with a whole bunch of other deer. And it made me very sad.
I saw that. Tim, what's your side of the story?
Well, it's a little different, but it's okay. So, I mean, she's dead on. That's kind of what we had done. I was drawn for mule deer buck that year, and we don't get it very often. So you definitely want to shoot a good deer.
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to do it with her. I think she was about 2.5 at the time. So it was a long ways to go down the valley. We made a good push towards it. We cut the distance about in half, and he was still probably about 400 yards. And the last bit, I just threw up on my shoulders again. I said, we have to cut another 150 yards. If we can do that, we can shoot him. And pretty much within 50 yards, he saw us, which I knew he probably would. I was just kind of hoping that he wouldn't know and we'd just hang out. And yeah, so then we just had to watch him run off. And that was the end of our day on that deer. And that was just kind of candid. I didn't really think much of it. And I was just like, I could tell she was pretty broke up about it. I pulled out my camera and took that little video of her, and the rest is history.
Mind.
Yeah.
Oh, did you ever expect that video to go as nuts as it did?
No, not at all. At that point, our Instagram was just something we kind of used to share with friends and family, what was going on, and, the adventures we were getting on, or getting up to. And, I actually had posted it, I think, on Instagram initially, and then on Facebook. And surprisingly enough, it was kind of Facebook that really grabbed onto it at first. And I mean, within 3 days, it was millions of views, and it just kind of went to a fairly unexpected place quite quickly, which we also weren't really prepared for in any sense. We had this nice little account of 1,000 followers that just went crazy right away. So it was a bit all too much at once, but yeah, to say the
That's the
least.
way it happens. It's the way it happens sometimes. You never know. There's no rhyme or reason to the video that just takes off like a rocket. What drives you to get her outside that much with you? Like what's that connection? Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, I think, we are spoiled in a sense because she's our only child, so it's easy to, I don't have three or four to try to do it with. Not that I think it's impossible, but I was raised in an outdoor family, so for me, this way of life isn't really something new. I'm the youngest of 9 kids, and I mean, I give it all to my parents because, man, I don't know how they kept us out there in the field with them, but they did, and it's really just a way of life for us. So I never really thought much of it, but I knew that I wanted her to be involved with me in the outdoors. And, from the fly fishing we do to the hunting, pretty much since I was able or mom would allow her to be out with me, she's been out with me. And yeah, it's created a really cool connection for us because it's something that you really bond over. And thankfully, she really loves it. It's not something I have to really
Hmm.
force her out there. In the beginning, it was probably more just tagging along with dad, but now she has a drive for it, and that's a super rewarding thing as a parent.
Stream past episodes of Wild Talk at wildtvplus.ca.
So Ren, here's a question for you. What's your favorite game meat? Do you like deer meat?
I can't eat meat.
No? You serve it to people, right? Do you help cook it?
Yeah, a little
A
bit.
little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
What do you,
We're
what do you like to
dabbling with it.
what do you like to cook with mom and dad?
Ooh, this is a great question.
This is a great
You should do
question.
more of what he's suggesting.
Not really. I help mom and dad cook supper sometimes, but I've never actually just cooked a full meal on my own.
You'll get there soon, I promise. It's a blast when the kids finally start to take that little bit of that initiative and go, I'm making breakfast today. You're like, you
Okay.
sure are. So,
Yeah. Well, she's brought me coffee enough times. I do
well,
appreciate
that's
that.
good.
Yeah.
That's good.
I'm learning how to make coffee slowly.
That's important, right?
Yep. Number
Yeah.
one. That comes before food.
So let's talk a little bit about what's happened since you didn't get that deer. What's changed? Has there been any animals that you've been able to go, you know what? That made up for it.
Probably a buck we got this year.
Okay, talk a little bit about that one, you two.
So I wasn't there, sadly,
Oh no.
but he did get a really, really big buck. So that was really happy. And I had no clue how big he was. No clue. And Dad opened the back of the truck, and I lost my mind.
So you haven't seen my deer yet?
No, I haven't. I'm super excited.
Excited?
Yes.
Stupid school getting in the way, so you couldn't come with me today?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what he looks like. You ready?
What? No way!
He's pretty big, huh?
That's huge!
He's a good buck.
How big was it?
I forget how many points. It was a lot of points, though.
Yeah, he was a 10-point. He was a nice
Yeah.
buck.
Oh.
Yeah.
I liked
He's a
him.
big one.
5 on each side.
So whitetail?
Yeah.
Whitetail, yeah.
Nice. What did he end up scoring?
He was actually broke off one of his tines like halfway down, so he lost a bunch, but he grossed around that 163 or something, so decent buck for sure.
Decent.
Yeah, really good buck. Sorry.
163 is
It's actually my best whitetail buck of
Oh, I bet.
probably my life so far. So
So Ren, what do you want? What would your dream animal be to be with your dad when he got one, or if you took one?
I think if I took one, would be a dream place I want to go shoot something really big would be Alaska. An Alaskan moose hunt with him would be amazing. It's a big dream, though.
Wow.
yeah,
What about you, Tim?
yeah, I would say like it would probably be fairly similar. Especially if I could pair that hunt with a sheep of some kind.
Oh yeah. So Ren, do you have your hunting license yet? How does that work in Alberta?
In Alberta, they're hoping to drop it to the point where that the parent is allowed to choose. They're
Okay.
trying to right now. So if that becomes to a thing, I might be able to shoot one next year.
Oh, how old do you have to be, Tim?
10.
Right now, you have to be 12,
Okay.
and that's for bow or rifle at the moment. But yeah, there is some pretty heavy talk about either dropping it to like 10 or making it like a parental discretion, where maybe
Right,
they shoot it under your tag as like a
Yeah.
something like that. So
Yeah.
she's at this point we're a couple years off, but definitely
It's
itching
getting
to get
close.
there.
I think that's a perfect way to wrap it up. Wren, I can't wait to see what you do in the future. You're gonna kill that great big buck that you always wanted to.
One day, hey.
Yeah.
You didn't tell us. I'm surprised you didn't tell Steve what we just came back from.
Yeah. What'd you just come back from?
A tar hunt in New Zealand.
What?
We got one.
Nice. Congratulations.
More
Good
or less 2 of them, but
We did keep 2 of
Nice.
them, but one big one. Yeah.
one big one.
Tim, Wren, this has been an awesome chat. I look forward to following your Instagram a little more and seeing what you get to knock down in the future, Wren.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank
Thanks.
you for having us. It's awesome.
Oh, it's been fun. Thanks again, guys. All right, everybody, welcome back. This segment of Wild Talk is going to be top notch. We're talking with Tyson from Timber Stoves. Tyson, thanks for joining me today.
Howdy, Steve. Thanks for having me.
So what I want to know for all our listeners and our viewers is tell us a bit about the company itself. Where are you? How did it come about?
Yeah, wood pellet products. We DBA do business as Timber Stoves. Most of the public knows us as such. And a timber stove is a gravity-fed outdoor fireplace. It runs off of wood pellets. We came to fruition in 2011. I was an aspiring entrepreneur. I had dabbled in probably between 20 and 100 businesses, the 100 being the ideas that you have overnight, and the 20 being the ones you actually go out and you try. And I started out, in the grilling world. My family had manufactured the world's best barbecue. It's a pellet grill. So yeah, I started Timber Stoves with the idea that real simple. It's cold outside, and I hate being cold. It's that easy. You go through 15 years of business, and you learn the ups and downs and all these things. What path do I need to be on? But ultimately, you gotta believe in what you're doing is the answer to what you got to do to sell the product. So it was make something that can keep me warm outside. I have never strayed from that. So we still work to make sure that is what we do on a daily basis. It's about keeping people warm.
So you find the problem, you create the solution, and here
100%.
you are 15 years later. And I've done a couple of fly-in hunts, and it sucks when it's cold out. It drops morale. So I get it. I live in the middle of British Columbia here, and we're just getting to the tail end of winter. It's been a weird winter. This last week and a half, we've sat at about 12, 14 degrees above zero, which is unheard of. But just 6 weeks ago, we were cruising around minus 30. So
yeah, I saw that.
It's
I
all
saw that
over the place. Another big question a lot of our viewers are going to want to know about is maintenance. Talk to me a little bit about what maintenance looks like on your grills and your outdoor products and your stoves.
Yeah, it's all about making things burn real clean. So we get to come out and actually say no smoke. We love seeing the Snoop Dogg and Solo Stove stuff. Like, to us, that was magic because we knew in real life those things aren't smokeless. They're burning wood, man. Anytime you burn wood, the variable, again, that term, in wet wood or what kind of wood, man, you're leaving that up to the customer. You're going to get smoke. And if there's anything that I'm repelled most by when I'm hanging out outside, it's smoke. So our product is extremely clean burning. And because of that, you get really high temperatures. things work the way they're supposed to. Wood pellets in a gravity feed system are dependent on the fuel burning efficiently. If I explain it real simply, a hopper, okay, that contains the fuel and the fire that's burning, when that fire, so here's your chute coming down to your fire, when that fire burns, any fire, it reduces in size. So that size reduction is what's allowing more fuel to come in and replace. So the efficiency of this fire burning and making sure all of its remnants are burned complete and falling through the process, which would be our fire pot, that's the system that continues.
So me here, Northern BC, I want to stay warm on my deck in sub-zero temperatures. What heater would you recommend?
I recommend 2 heaters.
Okay.
Okay. When you're dealing with sub temperatures, right? Ambient temperatures, it does not matter how much BTUs. Okay. You could go up to 500,000 or 1 million BTUs. All right. In order to get that to make you warm in sub temperatures, that's a burner for a hot air balloon. That's what that is. Okay.
Unreal. Okay.
So unreal to be able to change ambient temperature. Stop wasting fuel at that point. Go inside. When you hit about 30, now you're going to be able to adjust ambient temperature.
Right.
At 30 degrees, you're going to be able to stand 3 to 4 feet away from our Revere patio heater, our best patio heater, and be warm. Now this is the fun part. As the temperature goes up, we're like plants. As the plants come out of the ground, so are we as people. We'll come out of the ground. So about 50 degrees, we're thinking about it. 55, we're out there, right? That's when you really see the biggest benefit of the product. That's when you're going to get that 10 feet radius heat. At 60 degrees, you're going to get 12 feet radius heat.
That's huge.
So I'll go up against anybody's heater, man. I'll tell you, nobody's product will radiate that far. It's about BTU output, but at a certain level, it doesn't matter.
That's awesome. So somebody wants to get into the market, where do they find your products?
Yep, they go to timberstoves.com. We are everywhere. We're on all the social media platforms. You can find us typically as Timber Stoves. Our business name is Wood Pellet Products, and that's what you'll get. You'll get the whole array of outdoor cooking and heating appliances.
Awesome. Thanks, Tyson, for joining me today.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, everybody, this segment of Wild Talk Outdoor Lens, we focus on some incredible nonprofits around the world. Today, I'm joined by Chris Everett from Safari Club International Canada. A huge thanks for joining me today, Chris.
Thanks for having me on.
This is going to be a fun conversation. So, for those that don't know, tell us a little bit about what Safari Club International Canada is.
So Safari Club International Canada is a section of Safari Club International, which is an international advocacy organization focused on hunting and conservation around the world. So my job is with the Canada division, so I support its members. I do all the advocacy with the provinces as well as the federal government for them, and I work with my counterparts around the world for anything to do with hunting and conservation.
Yeah, so advocacy is so important in hunting in the outdoor world. What sort of things do you advocate for in your role?
So in my role, I look at anything to do with firearms policy, habitat restoration. Right now, our sister organization, the Safari Club International Foundation, is actually working on a grizzly bear collaring program in BC. So we do various programs like that around the country and around the world to help animals thrive in their environments and to work with the governments to make sure that animals are around for generations to come. We know hunters are the best conservationists in the world, so we do it from that lens.
Yeah, we sure are, right? That's where a lot of steps are missed when it comes to popular culture, is they think hunters are out there and they just want to shoot the biggest, baddest animal. How many members do you guys have?
We have over 100,000 members around the world and advocates that are associated with Safari Club. We have 115 countries are associated with us and over 150 chapters around the world. including 13 in Canada, and it's growing. We have multiple that are being opened in Canada right now, right from coast to coast.
That's unreal. I knew Safari Club was big, but I didn't think there was that many chapters and that many people. That's one heck of a footprint.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody wants to get involved, essentially, how do they do that? How do they sign up to be a member?
So you can go to our website, you can sign up to become a member, or you can reach out to a local chapter and get involved on the ground roots. So that's what's really unique about Safari Club, which is one of the big draws that I had to come work for them, was the actual chapters and how they work. So Safari Club has the idea that chapters are where a lot of the grassroots actually happens. They know their communities. So all of our chapters, when they hold fundraiser and banquets, they actually keep 70% of their proceeds for local conservation initiatives that they decide where they want that money to go to. So getting involved in a chapter or getting involved at the higher level with Safari Club, either way, getting involved is the best kind of avenue to supporting what we do, but also to actually helping with wildlife conservation around the world.
That's what it's all about. Boots on the ground, advocacy in action. A huge thanks for joining me today, Chris, and I look forward to seeing what you guys roll out in the future.
Thank you for having me.
Mail from Ahia means that there's going to be a firearms course soon. The night before a firearms course, I always go through my entire kit to make sure that I have everything available for each student. Now remember, all of the firearms used in this course are disabled and they are for instructional purposes only. So we do have the pump, we have the bolt, we have the lever, we have the brake, and we have the semi-auto. I have additional brake here that is a fully breakdown model. I then go through my pouch to make sure that I have all the different types of ammunition, the shells, the slugs, center fire, rim fire, the full metal jacket, the boat tails, all of that kind of good jazz is all in here, making sure that your class and your experience is as complete and full and as educational as possible. When I'm setting up for a firearms course, I like to come early, set up, make sure the projector works, make sure all the class materials are out and ready, so that as soon as any participant comes in, we can get in, have an inclusive environment, and we can get right to learning. Yeah, okay, so when we're handling a loaded firearm, if we're passing a firearm to somebody or I'm passing you a firearm, what are you going to do?
Axe and prove.
Right. Krista, what's A?
We're going to assume that the firearm is loaded.
Good job, Ashley. Erica, do you know what C is?
Control the muzzle direction at all times.
Awesome. Brandy, do you know what T is?
Trigger finger must be kept off the trigger and out of the regard.
Awesome. Keely, S.
See that the firearm is unloaded, prove it's safe.
Perfect. Krista, let's try you again with P.
Point the firearm in the safety of the weapon.
Good job. Luca, R.
Remove all ammunition.
Brianna, O.
Observe the chambers.
Chloe, V.
Verify the feed.
Good job. And Keely, let's try you again with E.
Examine the board for obstructions visually with a rod.
That's right.
Hey wild friends, welcome to the Untamed Times, your daily dose of wild news. I'm Karis Jorgensen, bringing you the latest in the great outdoors. So let's take a peek at what's happening in Canada. The Red Deer Gun Show and Sale is happening on May 3rd and 4th. It's the perfect chance to find some top tier gear and mingle with fellow enthusiasts. If one isn't enough, travel up to Edson from May 9th to 11th for the Edson Gun and Sportsman Show, promoted by the Hunt Mania Show Productions. a full weekend dedicated to everything outdoors, sportsmanship, and gear. Heading over to our friends in BC, the MDT Canadian Rocky Mountain Hunting Challenge is happening May 9th to 11th. Located at the 3 Bar Guest Ranch, this is part of the NRL Hunter Series and offers a competitive hunting experience. This competition gives NRL hunters the ability to compete in simulations of real-life hunting scenarios while focusing on precision shooting. License-free family fishing is happening in Ontario for Mother's Day weekend, May 10th to 11th. Canadian residents can enjoy fishing in Ontario in designated areas, promoting family participation throughout recreational fishing. Always be sure to check out what's happening in your community and take advantage of outdoor educational opportunities. Let's pull up a calendar and see all the dates that I just mentioned. And of course, it wouldn't be an episode of Wild Talk without some random clips we pull off the internet to throw your way.
Show me your bad dog. I don't want to see any of these like good boys and good girls sitting for a cookie.
Our first guests today were an adorable father-daughter duo, so keeping that on theme, Steve sits down with Clint and his daughter Caitlin. They are the founders of Canadian Gundogs and share their love and passion for the sport and training of the animals. Be sure to follow along our socials for more at wild_TV and Wild Talk TV. See you next time, and remember, stay wild, friends.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of Wild Talk. We are talking dogs today, specifically Gundogs. So I am joined by Clint and Caitlin from Canadian Gundogs. Thanks a ton for joining me today, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Let's jump right into it. Tell me a little bit about Canadian Gundogs and how it was founded.
Yeah, I guess Canadian Gundogs was founded like from any great hunting, desire. It was founded by the want to have a great hunting dog and to go in the field and have as much fun as we possibly could. And what we didn't know along the journey is that not only would we be, training dogs and learning to train and test and performance, really understanding what the breeds could do, but also we became bird farmers, and that was very unexpected and unplanned. So now we have, pheasants and chuckers and ducks and all these things that you need to really grow and develop a bird dog. And I think for us, the journey has evolved along the way, coming from our first bird dog. And, if I just back up just a little bit, I was raised in a family that was involved with boxers, raising, training, and showing boxers. That's kind of where everything started for me, dogs, and really evolved me into the desire to have a hunting dog, and to actually do it with my daughter. So it's been a great journey for us, for me anyway. Maybe I'll let you expand a little bit.
Yeah, I've always kind of had a love for anything animals, anything working animals. But anyways, we started off with just a family pet, and I would just take that. She's just a pug beagle mix. I would just take her to the park and do training with her. I just have always kind of loved working animals. And then, we got our first hunting dog, and I just fell in love with it. I was like, don't worry, Dad, you don't have to do anything. I'll get up with the dog in the middle of the night. I'll do it all. And I was 16 at the time. So now I'm 20, and I'm fully invested in dogs. I'm in school right now at the Animal Behavior Institute for advanced canine training. And we just actually had our first poodle pointer litters hit the ground last week. So, yeah. Fully invested in dogs as a young adult, and probably will be for the rest of my life.
For us, just to kind of shed a little light on how we got here.
Yeah.
Hooked up with a guy, a retriever trainer that, was pro in the business for 40 years. And, he's kind of moving towards the end of his career. and really wanted to pass on and, you know, share some of that knowledge across, you know, between Caitlin and I. So we spent a good portion of a year mentoring, you know, just spending time and learning and really understanding, you know, the development stages of a gun dog and really the foundations. Where does it come from? In our program specifically, you know, it comes from, you know, obedience, cooperation, and then really transfers into those natural hunting abilities that those dogs have right from babies. So we've really been able to capitalize on that, and our program is founded around that. And so we've been able to turn out some really great dogs. And in our program, even last year, we had a lot of young dogs come. You know, 7 months to a year. So puppies that are just getting ready to have their first great hunting experience. And just for example, like I'm the president of the North Point NAVDA chapter here in Edmonton.
Right.
And so part of our training program blends well with NAVDA. NAVDA is kind of performance hunt testing. And so we can actually take our program and our training and then put it up against a standard and have it evaluated.
Gotcha.
Which really gives us that feedback of, you know, are we providing the right fundamentals for these hunting dogs, and are they retaining and able to deliver that in the field?
Okay, that makes sense. So it's kind of would be the hunting dog version of Schutzen type thing. So there's trials and levels, et cetera, et cetera. I don't have experience with hunting dogs, but I've got experience with Schutzen. So similar sort of thing.
Similar, yeah. So
Okay.
it's kind of, programs are kind of built out in phases where you're testing the natural ability of a puppy.
Right.
So swimming, using scent and use of nose, and, you know, search and find and point. Just 3 basic, you know, skills that you want to see in a great hunting dog. A point
And tracking.
and tracking.
Yes.
Find the bird. And so we look for that, and then we advance into the more finished gun dog. And the more finished gun dog is like, you know, steady to wing, steady to shot, steady to fall, which means you could actually, the dog would find the bird, point the bird, and allow us to, as the shooter or the hunter, to go and dispatch the bird and then send that dog for a nice go pick up, bring back to hand, and everything's kind of really organized, structured with cooperation. And that's what our utility and finished gun dog would look like.
Okay. Yeah. There's if people out there haven't had a chance to work with a dog in either the hunting capacity or the protection capacity, you guys will be able to vouch for this. There's nothing better when that dog realizes what it's supposed to do. It's like a light bulb comes on, and then it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
And you build that team from the ground up. What makes a hunting dog, and can any dog do it?
I think that's a loaded question.
It is.
I think there's definitely dogs that are bred for that purpose, but I definitely think that if your dog has some level of prey drive and drive, you could probably train them to do, you know, different types of hunting. And I think for the different types of hunting, obviously different dogs and different breeds could do, you know, like there's a lot of, like for say doodles, you know, maybe you have a doodle that comes from a golden retriever. Well, that breed was once a hunting dog, right? So that prey drive is most likely there. Or same thing with like Catahoulas, like they're hog hunting dogs, right? So maybe you have a Catahoula like on your acreage or something, but again, that prey drive is there. You'll see a lot of the larger breeds do have that prey drive. But yeah, like I'm in a lot of hunting groups on Facebook, and I'll see like border collies that are like out hunting pheasants. I'm like, yeah, if you by all means, right? Like if you got the intelligence and the drive to do it, then by all means, yeah.
And we do see it. You know, we have folks bring us, you know, just pet labs, for example, and say, you know, I want to go hunting with this lab. I don't know if it hunts. And so what we do is an evaluation. So we'll put the dog on birds and we'll really expose it to those field type scenarios and do an evaluation with the owner. And you can see very quickly, you know, does that dog have that natural ability, that prey drive that Caitlin was talking about? And if you can see that basic natural ability and that, you know, that drive to want, you can train it.
What made you guys specifically work with that breed? What about them said, this is the one for us?
I was doing a pretty wide spectrum evaluation of the versatile breeds, and there's 30, I think there's 31, 32. I can't remember specifically, 31 or 32 breeds in the versatile category. And originally, I was in eastern Saskatchewan for doing some work over there. And a buddy of mine had some Draghars. And so I started there, and I was interested in those dogs. And then one day, this is just completely by circumstance, I was sitting down in the basement with Caitlin and the family. We were watching Wild TV. And
Good choice.
Yeah, just by circumstance. Yeah, it's funny. But we were watching Wild TV, and they had a 1-hour segment on the puddle pointer. And so we watched that full segment, and it talked about the family engagement, the off switch in the home, the prey drive, and the ability for cooperation in the field. And I watched that, and I was like, that's the dog. We need to find one of these dogs. And like you said, they're extremely rare in Canada. I mean, currently there's only 4 breeders across Canada that are breeding puddle pointers. And we got one, we fell in love, and we got 2. Now we got 4.
Yeah. Now we have 12 puppies on the ground currently.
Oh, I love that. Let's start at the basics. I've got a puddle pointer. It's been temperament tested. I want to start training it to be a bird dog. What does that look like when I come to you for the first time?
Okay, I guess where I would start, with an 8-week-old puppy, you just got the puppy home, is with those obedience foundations. And you want to make sure that the training is super fun. You don't want to make puppy training stressful or a job by any means. So what I do is, before I feed the puppy, I'll just take a few pieces of their kibble, of their suppler, and I'll put it in my pocket. And what I do is I get what's called a place board, and it's just like a square kind of target type thing. And I'll take the puppy's food. If you use kibble, that's great. And I'll kind of lure the puppy onto the place board, and then I'll say stand. And then if the puppy stands for 1 second, I say free, and then the puppy's allowed to come off. So I'm starting to work on stand, which will then turn into steadiness in the field. And then we could also use that place board for recall. So if your puppy's, in front of the place board, something like that, you just you would lure your puppy onto the place board again and say here, and then, yes, and reward them. So that's where I would start with obedience. Kind of the stand and the recall are super important. And then obviously having a stand, what we do is we put the puppy on stand. We'll maybe just lightly hold onto the collar because they're most likely not going to stay put for the first little while. Mm-hmm. We'll put the food bowl down, and then as soon as the puppy shows me that it's calm and it can stand there for even like half a second, I'll say free, and I'll let them go get the food bowl.
Yeah, I think, it's important to kind of get those foundational things going early. The dogs are imprinting right from birth, right? So even this morning, Caitlin was doing some stimulation and some different things with those puppies, holding them in certain ways, tapping their toes with little Q-tips, just to get those sensitivities. Mm-hmm. And we even had this morning, you were doing that scent work.
So we've been doing early neurological stimulation as well as early scent introduction.
So really the training starts early, advances into that here and that stand and that steadiness for feeding with the young puppies. And then we do bird introduction. We did bird introduction today, but we're going to do, as the puppies open their eyes and they get their senses, then we'll put feathers in there. We'll actually put a small bird on the ground and, pigeon, and let them kind of chase it around. We put it on with a fishing rod so they don't get it too much. They can get it a little bit, and just building drive. Right. Really just expanding on what they have in them, and then just providing that baseline of experience, so they're not afraid. Like sometimes some puppies, a wing flap of a bird, mm-hmm. You're like, whoa, holy, but you put in a fun environment with 4 or 5 of their buddies, and some of their buddies are a bit more confident. Yeah. So they're just like, hey, that's awesome. Let's get them. Yeah. Let's get them. So what it does, builds confidence amongst all of their siblings. So.
What would a rough timeline look like from taking an 8-week-old puppy to get it to ready to hunt in the field confidently?
Depending on the time of year, right? So that's a big part of that. When does that pup hit the ground? But for example, these pups that we had, like Caitlin said, were whelped last weekend, and they'll be hunting by the fall. Like they will be in the field. So by 6-7 months, they'll be there.
Yeah.
But they won't be finished gun dogs. We
But-
finish them the second year, so we won't. What we would do is train retrieve or a force fed.
Right.
That doesn't come until the dog is more mature and able to take that level of pressure and training.
Mhm.
But these dogs will be out there pointing,
Yeah.
going and getting birds, bringing them back to some level of reason and having a great time. And that's what we want to see first year.
Multi-levels to it, right? You start basic and then always want to reinforce with positive experiences, lots of fun.
Oh yeah, no, we'll be shooting. We'll be starting to shoot around then and over them in 3-4 months. That's how fast this will go.
Yeah.
That's
It'll go
cool.
pretty quick.
That's cool. So the average person that comes to you looking for a puddle pointer, are they an experienced dog person, or are they just looking to get into it and do it the right way, right? How does that look to you?
It's a mixed bag. I mean, we've got some really good pedigree lineage, so sought after by breeders, and really our bloodlines are, I think, of value to the breed as a whole. So we've had lots of conversations with breeders and guys that will take them to the highest level of gun dog finish. So we've had those folks, and we have folks that, hey, say, I just love these brown dogs, and I've seen it over here. My friend had one, and it's so beautiful and cuddly and nice, and I want to go hunting. And so we got both ends of the spectrum.
Mhm.
Right. Okay.
But what we do in our program is we kind of treat everyone equal. And for the folks that have the experience, we have those conversations. We can actually learn back and forth and share. And
Right.
then with those ones that are coming up, we bring them in and we coach and we mentor them and we help and we guide them through that development.
What are some of the biggest challenges you would say, this could go to either of you, biggest challenges you say that you would face when it comes to breeding and training these type of dogs?
Well, I'll start out with the breeding side.
Sure.
Pass it to Caitlin to finish up with the training. From a breeding side, like our breeding program has been 5 years in the making. And so we performance trained and tested, we health trained and tested, and you have to take time and consideration for all those things. And I think when you're moving forward to become a reputable breeder to enhance a breed, you have to be fully prepared to step back and say,
Right.
this is not right. And I think that's the hardest thing.
I guess I would say the biggest challenge when training is just trying to meet everyone's expectations to the fullest. I find some people have very, very high expectations to their dogs, and sometimes they're not always realistic. And I think people, need to realize that training's not a magic potion. You don't send your dog to a trainer and magically it's like 100% for the rest of the time. You have to maintain the training that we do in order to be successful throughout the whole thing.
So someone wants to know more about getting involved with you guys, puddle pointers. How do they find you?
We have a website, so we're Canadian Gundogs. So if you put that in Google, we should probably come up. Canadian Gundogs Supply is not us, similar names, but just Canadian Gundogs is us. We're also on social media, so we have Facebook, Instagram. We've kind of started to get into more YouTube as well. So I have a couple hunting videos posted on YouTube. But yeah, if you just kind of look up Canadian Gundogs on any one of those platforms, we should come up.
A huge thanks for joining me today, guys. But this has been a great conversation. I love talking dogs. And yeah, just once again, thanks for joining me today, guys.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us.
Thanks so much for having us. See ya.
See ya.
This episode of Wild Talk is brought to you by Aventura Self-Heating Beverages. Enjoy your adventure with the comfort of a hot drink anywhere, anytime. Hornady, accurate, deadly, dependable. Timber Stoves, the original wood pellet patio heater. And Wild TV Plus, stream the best outdoor adventures on all your favorite devices.